But then what do you do after the diet? An antidote and like a cure to disordered eating tendencies. And it was a really wonderful experience to learn that I can eat what I want and not feel guilty. I thought that used to be what mattered, but I know that that's not true anymore. When I was in those periods where I was dieting, yeah, diets work, but it ruined my life. Hello, we meet again. Let's get a little bit more comfy here. Welcome back everybody, Hannah Linnea here. If you're new to this channel, please make sure that you subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I am a health and wellness coach, and all of my videos here are about finding energy and confidence and talking about food freedom and self-love. So make sure that you stick around. This video is about whether or not diets actually work. I'm jumping on the bandwagon for this. I'm in a health industry. I have a master's in health and socioeconomics, and I also have personal training certifications. And there's a lot of mixed feelings that I have about like diet culture in general and whether or not diets work. Diets are what you use to be able to lose weight, and diets work if you stick to them. But then what do you do after the diet? After the diet, just because after the diet you don't know what to do doesn't mean that the diet doesn't work, because if you're able to lose weight, then but then if you contextualize diet as like this whole you lose weight and you never gain a pound again, well, of course diets don't work, because body weight fluctuates depending on how much stress you have in your life, if you've had a baby, or if you're getting older, or if you've stopped working out because of an injury or something going on with your mental health. Of course a diet isn't going to work through those kind of things. I think a big reason why people have an issue with diet cultures and why people claim that diets don't work is because diets are really hard, and it can really lead to the binge and restrict cycle. So I guess you can say that I've done 2 diets in my life that were committed, and I really stuck to it. One of them was just literally counting calories for 3 months and being in a calorie deficit, which I enjoyed because I lost weight, but I also hated because my relationship with food was ruined. So do diets work in that context? No, they don't. Well, they do. I still lost the weight, and by no means did I gain it all back. Actually, I don't know, because I actually stopped weighing myself, because during the calorie counting, you have to weigh yourself somewhat regularly to know what your calories should be at and what sort of deficit you need to be at. And yeah, it became really unhealthy for me. And I had always suffered with disordered eating tendencies, but then it blew into full-on bulimic episodes, which is no fun. It's really harmful. And if you're dealing with those things, I highly suggest that you subscribe to this channel. I've been through it too. And then also reach out to somebody that you can trust to talk to about it, or even just start reaching out to healthcare professionals, because any sort of eating disorder is detrimental for your health and longevity and your mental well-being, and you deserve so much more in life than to be completely restricted. Another diet that I did was alternate day fasting, which I made lots of videos about. So you guys can make sure that you check those out. And actually, I found my experience with alternate day fasting to kind of be an antidote and a cure to disordered eating tendencies, which is kind of weird because wow, alternate day fasting is really intense. I guess I better clarify what alternate day fasting is. Essentially, that's just eating every other day. Every other day you eat or you don't eat, and you just rotate. So I did that for a month. So I ate for 15 out of 30 days, and I lost a lot of weight. I don't know, it was a really eye-opening experience because it was kind of my first step into intuitive eating. Ultimately, when you do those kind of quick fix diets, obviously it's not going to work in the long run because there isn't any actual lifestyle modification, there aren't any lifestyle improvements. And then also it can really ruin your relationship with health, with food, and your perspective of health. And you might not be able to see your body clearly in the mirror anymore. I know that I struggle with body dysmorphia to this day, and it's just learning how to cope with it better. And lots of times people can't see their reflection anymore because then they attribute all of their value and their worth and what they actually look like to the number on the scale. But that's problematic because scale number, your weight changes. There's is depending on how often you go to the bathroom. Like maybe TMI, but like so relevant. It depends on how much water you have, how much water retention you have, because maybe you're not drinking enough water, so your body's holding on to all of the water that you do consume. Maybe you ate too much salt. Maybe you, like, if you weigh yourself after the Christmas dinner, of course, or like Thanksgiving dinner, of course you're gonna weigh more than if you are in the middle of the summer and you've just been at the beach all day and sweating. Like, there's just so many factors to weight. It just causes so much anxiety, so I don't weigh myself at all. But yeah, so even with alternate day fasting, even though it has led me into intuitive eating, because I find with like alternate day fasting, on the days that you eat, you're really, it's weird. When you fast, you actually kind of lose your hunger. And I found that when I did eat, I'd have to be like, okay, you're gonna eat today, and what do I feel like eating? And so I became a lot more attuned to what I'm actually craving, what I actually want, which is really nice, because all of a sudden I realized I'm not this bad eater. And I bet that if you were to do something like that too, that you'd realize, oh wow, I'm not actually a bad eater. Like, I'm craving, like I crave like bread with Nutella. I don't think Nutella's all that bad, like everything in moderation, right? Or like craving like specific vegetables. Like, I want like broccoli fried with soy sauce, like just so specific. And I mean, obviously there were times where I wanted like muffins or cakes or like deep fried chicken or something like that. When I did, I ate it and I didn't have any guilt about it. And it was a really wonderful experience to learn that I can eat what I want and not feel guilty. But obviously alternate day fasting doesn't make sense long term. It's really hard, obviously. Like, if you're in it, like I was quarantining at the time that I did it, so obviously it's really easy to be able to just, because, you know, pandemic, quarantine. It was super easy to be attuned to what I actually wanted, and then to not be influenced by social pressure or like social outings and stuff, which ultimately is also kind of a bad thing, because like in the real world, you don't want to have to not be able to do things and like not be able to see your friends and that kind of stuff. So that's why I really don't think like alternate day fasting really makes sense in the long term, like for a healthy lifestyle. And it's just because it's naturally restrictive, because if you don't eat for 15 out of 30 days, like I remember on the days I wasn't eating, I was in bed. And that's just because you're so tired. You know, that's why like this video is like, will do diets work? Well, yeah, they do, but I think it's kind of those things, like if you need to diet, then get in, get out. But like, honestly, I think that transitioning out of something extreme, like excessive exercise with keto or alternate day fasting, just it doesn't make sense when you're trying to live a healthy lifestyle. And I'm so grateful that I've been able to transition into intuitive eating, which is essentially eating when you're hungry and eating the things that you want to eat in a way that is going to help your long-term health goals and to nourish your body. So like a long-term health goal isn't be 130 pounds for the rest of my days. Like, that's not a long-term health goal. A long-term health goal, in my perspective, and what I preach through my services and with my company, Hannah Linnea Longevity, in case you are asking, you want to be able to go through life and be a loving, supportive person for yourself, for others, and you want to be able to live fully so you can take care of yourself and so you can take care of people that you care about, and the business that you want to own, or the professional endeavors that you want to do, or the education that you want to pursue. That is what long-term health is. And it's not about like being an extra small and size 00 jeans. Like, it's so crazy, like 00. I own 00 jeans. I was so tiny. And like, if you're 00, that's fine. If you want to be 00, that's fine. Like, you do you. But that has not, I thought that used to be what mattered. I thought like being as tiny as possible is what mattered. But I know that that's not true anymore, because when I was in those periods where I was dieting, yeah, diets work, but it ruined my life. Like, when I was doing calorie counting, I lost my friends, I cut people off. I all of a sudden felt like people found me attractive, and then I got into a really unhealthy relationship, which is very disastrous, and then I talk about in this video that you guys should check out if you want to know the terrible, terrible effects of how like poor body image and poor self-care can turn into a life-threatening situation. And not only is depriving your body of nutrients and fuel bad for your physiological functions, you know, like for me, like dieting so much and like not eating that I would faint. That's horrible for your brain health. Like neurologically, that's just don't do it. And then it's also, it really ruins the way that you're able to care for yourself and perceive yourself. I don't know, it's really a catch-22, because before going through my diets, I would cry every day about what I saw in the mirror and how I felt in my clothes. And then going through everything that I've been through with losing weight and all the terrible things that happened to me in that context, I'm so happy that I went through all that. And, you know, finding a way to transition out of diets, your diet is really difficult. And that's why I work with individuals who want some help. And I have that link down below for you guys to contact me so we can work one-on-one or find a offer that works for you for how you can transition out of sabotaging food and health habits, whether it's like binging or just really bad like restriction, dieting, endless cycles, or like an obsessive exercise. And then being able to find something that will actually like intuitively feel right and which your body will naturally be able to stabilize, and you don't always need to be eating all of the food or none of the food. Like living in this like middle area for exercise and food enables you to have clarity for all of your professional endeavors or your familial commitments or your relationships with your partner, friends, and yourself. Essentially, like, do diets work? Yeah, they do, but do they work long term? I don't know. It depends. Obviously this doesn't apply to everyone, but I know that for myself and for a lot of individuals, finding that balance again and to not have like the binge and the restrict cycles really hard. If you feel like that you need some help, make sure that you subscribe to this channel, because that's what I talk about on here, things that will empower you and let you overcome your discomforts to be comfortable in your continued progress and growth. Also, make sure that you follow me on Instagram, because I have things and goodies coming out all the time over there. I hope that we can stay connected, and let me know in the comments below if you have any questions about how to kind of get started on intuitive eating, and if there's any more experience that I can share with you about overcoming bulimia and other disordered eating tendencies. Hopefully get you on the right path of how to look at food and exercise as things to fuel and nurture your body rather than things that need to be controlled and restricted and have extremes. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, I'm Hannah, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.